Something magic happens every time you go. Make the magic happen. Make the magic happen.
Hello, we're back. It's the Oriole Spastics. How you doing out there, Spastics Nation? Don't you look lovely this evening?
I'm doing fine.
No, not you.
I'm
You're
part of
good.
Spastic Nation. Why is he laughing so much?
The audio reminds me of George Sr. in prison when he calls in.
What are you, Daft Punk? What is going on right now?
We do not wag our genitals to prove a point.
You sound like Daft Punk or something.
I don't know why it doesn't work very well.
Can someone open something, please?
Oh yeah, this is Chris here. Just found out after 2 months of being unemployed, just offered a job, so got that going.
Yeah, so I'm upset that Chris, you have a job.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm disappointed in that. We were going to challenge Adam Jones. Adam Jones has this thing in which he is challenging fans, or inviting fans to challenge him, rather, to anything at all, and he'll select some lucky fans that he will go head-to-head with. We could definitely crush Adam Jones in some Frisbee trick shots. I'm convinced.
Oh,
I know that sounds like a niche thing to all of you spasticers out there, or members of Spastic Nation. Spastikies, spazzes. Anyway, but we're pretty good with the discs here at Oriole Spastics.
It's true.
And we could probably, I don't think I could beat Adam Jones in most things, but we could beat him in that. And now that Chris has a job, he has less time to throw Frisbees in the trash cans, which is what we really need.
No, it's cool. I don't start for another week and a half.
Let's get working on this trick shot video.
Still got time.
Not a bad idea. We'll get our PR guy on it.
Yeah, let's get our intern on it. I wish we had an intern.
Yeah, intern John's on it.
John. Thanks, John. Get on it.
Yeah, he'll be he'll be recording while I shoot numerous trick shots.
Is there really an intern, John?
Yeah.
Oh.
You haven't met John yet.
Oh.
Oh, all right.
Isn't that just the bartender?
No, that's Will.
That's Will.
Will.
My boy Will.
Boy,
Turds.
Will.
Oh yeah, how did the raid go at Turds the other night?
The raid. Well, I got out unscathed.
Nice.
Successfully left that. So haven't been back yet. Trying to keep low.
Speaking of interns, which leads to other podcasts because they have interns, which leads to Section 336, which is another Orioles podcast.
That has an intern.
Do
They actually have an intern?
Yes, they really.
Oh
have
yeah,
an
that's
intern.
right. They really do.
They have
the world's,
intern.
The world's worst intern. That's right.
Oh, well, we
I always
thought
forget.
actually an intern.
I want that intern so bad.
Yeah, we're gonna take him. Night at the Yard. We can woo him with frozen bananas.
Yeah.
So Night at the Yard, set up by Section 336. We were so graciously invited to join them, as well as all of our fans, to get out to the yard on July 30th. Tuesday evening, we're playing the Astros, who we just took 2 of 3 from, so should be a pretty good game. It's a good night. You get a T-shirt and a ticket in Section 336 for $20. You can find that information on their website or on their Facebook, section336.com, and you can sign up for tickets there. You'll see us and all kinds of other fun Orioles podcasters and fans. It should be a pretty good night. So for those of you that only come for the Orioles content of our podcast here, you may have skipped our last podcast, which was the big Arrested Development only podcast. We broke down season 4 with a couple of friends. It was a good time, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah,
Well,
even if you're not an Arrested Development fan, I would encourage you to listen to that just to basically to feel how we felt dealing with Jeff Waters on that podcast and how he was so unprepared.
Yep, number 1.
Just technically challenged.
Yep, number 2. Yes.
Was there a third?
Yes. I just wanted to point out that our podcast is unprepared and technically challenged. It just took like 25 minutes trying to get our mics to work, Chris. So he was a perfect guest for us. He was the perfect Orioles Spastics guest.
It's true. He fit right in.
Although
But
I will say that none of us ever record a podcast as we're like driving or what were the other things he was doing? He was walking outside and like feeding his dog maybe, and like never thought
There's
that
a
you'd-
dog barking at some point.
Yeah, I heard doors opening and drawers
Yeah.
opening and shutting.
Yeah.
He was just going about his
Realize he
daily
couldn't do-
activities.
Oh, they're not recording anything here.
The best part is Jeff is a very talented musician. You can follow him and hear his music on Twitter at Jeff Waters Music. But he makes our mashup, which is our intro. But he's also a very good piano player. I just don't know how it didn't connect with him that all of those things would still be able to be heard. Surprising.
Yeah, you should be very conscious of audio. But something that kind of came out of that podcast was some people were thrown for a loop by the way that season 4 kind of jumps around a little bit, and you get some of the storyline in the beginning, some in the middle, some in the end. It jumps from forward to back. But something that's really cool that I found online the other day is basically this guy, just a fan of Arrested Development, did a chronological re-edit of the series and basically edited the whole season and put it back in order, so you can kind of follow it chronologically instead of how it was.
That is
season
cool.
4?
Yeah, for season 4.
That's awesome. I saw that. I haven't
Yeah.
got a chance to see it yet.
I've seen the first 3 episodes so far.
He saw that, but he hasn't gotten a chance to see it yet.
Oh, I see.
I
Says Charlie.
I saw that was a thing that existed, but I have not watched any of the episodes.
And it's gotten like the AD writers and the producers, like they have blessed it and they're allowing it to stay on the internet for whatever reason.
So a guy like that must be unemployed, right? Why don't
Yeah,
I
so,
We're gonna find that guy on our podcast.
Well, they need a new unemployed guy on their podcast.
Maybe they're looking for an intern.
Perhaps a movie. I think it goes without saying that that after those terrible things that Chris just said moments ago about Jeff, that Jeff and Chris still have beef.
There's beef there.
I don't know if Chris said any of those. Actually, it might have been mostly me.
No, he made a list.
Yeah,
He had a whole list. Yeah.
Jeff
Did I?
hate list.
He numbered them off.
Well, what
No.
I equate my
Have you liked him on Facebook yet? Maybe you can just
No,
like him
I
real
haven't.
quick.
I haven't
and
liked
get
him on
rid of the
Facebook. I'm
beef.
holding off on that. I equate our beef to like the Biggie Smalls Tupac kind of thing, where not really a real beef. It's
But
kind
you're
of
gonna shoot each other?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
It ends in both of your deaths.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Suge
similar.
Knight. If he gets involved, then we're screwed. No, I mean it's
He's already
kind of
involved.
just fabricated things. I don't actually hold any ill will towards Jeff, but I gotta keep up that beef with him just to bring the views in. I think it's just
Speaking of ill will, have we figured out who we have ill will towards in the Orioles podcasting world?
I don't
Well,
listen to any
everyone's-
other podcasts, so I don't really know.
You don't even listen to our podcast.
No, I don't. I don't listen to any of them.
That's fair. I think it's really tough because all the other podcasts are always really nice to us because we're absolutely 0% a threat because of how bad our podcast is. I think.
Oh yeah, we did get a Chris. I don't know if you know this, but we got a shout out on.
Bird's Eye
what is
View
it?
shouted us out.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a podcast.
Well, they do a drink of the day every day, and they announce their drink. And they had been working on Drunk Gary Thorne,
Eh,
and they mentioned that we had the gin Palmer, and that they were extremely jealous and upset that they didn't think of it
what
first.
about the booze pal? Are they jealous about that?
They don't know. They
Well-
don't know about the booze towel.
I don't think you can be jealous. We just said, hey, mix like
Yeah, we
10
don't
beers
actually
together.
have recipes for that yet.
The
One of these
booze.
days.
I thought we
It's
said
not
that the booze
drinkable.
towel was
Oh.
like it was one thing of Natty Boh and like 2 shots of whiskey, just like in a cup.
Did we
Mike's
say
Full
that? I
Rye.
thought we
Got
said
Mike's
mixed
Full
all
Rye.
like 5 Baltimore beers.
Oh right, maybe it was just I don't know. I don't know what the booze towel is.
I don't know. I think a booze pal could be a Natty Boh and like a shot of Pikesville Rye.
There you go, Pikesville Rye. That's good.
Well, what they have going for the Drunk Gary Thorne, it sounds like they got a good start there.
The tough part is that we're just so far out of the league of the rest of these podcasts in terms of knowledge and production value and probably listeners and anything
Efforts.
like that it's sort of hard. We're basically they're all being very nice to us because I think they think that we're just the lunatics that might snap anytime.
Do
They call us weird. They want to sit us in different
do you think
sections at social
do
events.
they have beef with the other podcasts that are actually good?
I think that they all pretend to be nice,
They-
but I think they all really hate each
They
other.
just
Maybe we
don't-
could be like mediators. We could try
You
to
can bring everyone
mediate.
together.
Yeah, they all.
I don't know. They all kind of go on each other's podcasts and
So when are you guys
Seem
thinking
to be
about-
friends.
Yeah, wait. Why don't we get anybody on our podcast, and why don't any of
Well,
us get
Bert-
invited to their podcast?
Bert Rohde of Section 336. Well, I'll get to that. Why no one's inviting us for a reason. But Bert Rohde said he'd come on here anytime and defend his his mustache love and talk about his mustache love. So we'll have to.
I like mustache.
Maybe we can
Why
set
does
him
he
up for
defend
next
anything?
week. Well, wait. Oh yeah, you didn't listen to this podcast, Chris.
I
So
know.
you missed out. No, he hasn't really expressed his appreciation for some of the better mustaches in the Orioles organizations over the years.
Namely,
So we just want
Farland
Namely-
brings back.
namely Jeff Rabelais. But we don't need to dive into this because we went over it our last podcast.
yeah.
So wait,
that's true.
why don't people want us on their podcast? Is it because we're insane? What?
No, probably because we don't know anything. We're
They
not
don't-
very fun.
And they don't already know that same stuff.
We could. I mean, really, the only thing we have going for us is maybe some Arrested Development knowledge.
Yeah, but they
I don't
don't.
know. I got one thing going for me, but I don't think we're ready to get into that part of the
Oh, someone
show yet.
gets a job, and all of a sudden he knows
No,
everything.
no, I got something going for me so far in these podcasts.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe we'll get to that here a little later. Let's take a tiny little break from this nonsense, and we'll get into Oriole stuff after our break.
Well, I'll start my own business. How hard can it be? Bzzz. Bzzz. We'll see who brings in more honey.
We know what that means. Time to get into some Orioles buzz. The All-Star Game voting. First round ballot is in, and the results are
Lots of orange and black.
lots of orange and black.
Yeah, those Giants are really starting to.
Not the Giants, silly.
Oh.
The Orioles.
Oh.
The Orioles have
Another
lots of-
team that shares the
You
colors.
know, the Orioles All-Stars like Brian Roberts and
Miguel Tejada.
um,
That year we had
Melvin Mora.
All those three in there starting, like 05.
yeah, but Brian Roberts he's like fifth. He is leading our team in batting average,
Good for him.
batting .417.
Yes.
Not terrible. Have you guys done any All-Star voting?
No, and I refuse to. Do you?
What? Really?
Yeah, I
At
do.
all?
For this team.
What? On moral grounds?
Yes.
What is your moral reasoning?
I write in Ross Perot 9 times. Each and every-
The independent candidate?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I don't vote. Last year I didn't vote. The year before that I did vote, and I couldn't bring myself to vote all orange. I think that's
Oh.
such a silly thing.
Oh, yeah.
Did you vote
Well,
in the
yeah.
presidential election?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It sort of doesn't really matter. I guess what I'm most confused is why American League fans don't just vote for the worst possible National League roster so that their teams get the home field advantage for the World Series.
It's the spirit of the game, Charlie. Ever heard of
There is no
it?
Spirit of the game.
I've never heard of anything called Spirit of the Game. I am confused as to why that doesn't happen. Maybe that's why Brian Roberts 5th and 2nd base votes, because
That's
the
true.
National League is trying to undermine the American League so that they can go to the World Series with an easier route, or have home field advantage in the World Series, rather.
Maybe this is what our podcast needs, is a platform to really get recognition. Maybe this is the issue.
So, Charlie, why
That
don't you,
springboards us.
instead of just not voting at all, why don't you vote for all the NL All-Stars?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Your vote makes a
You're an
difference.
ideas man. not really gonna...
I'm an ideas man, Michael. I think I proved that with Mountain.
All right, so I never had anything like Mountain, but I am an ideas man.
So
And
All-Star voting is in.
Chris Davis, first place. Who else?
Manny was right behind Cabrera for a while. Oh,
Manny
seriously.
was right behind Cabrera, but that's not going to stay that way. Jones is locking down a spot right now.
Yeah, with his 9 strikeouts in the last 4 games.
Easy.
He had 4 in one game.
And key RBI today. Let's just all tone it down just a bit. Our all-star center fielder, who's above reproach.
We also finished up the Tiger series pretty strong with Kevin Gausman.
Gotcha.
Guzman!
Oh, it is. It's a little bit tricky to say, right? It's
No,
not.
it isn't. It's just because I was thinking of you pronouncing every name wrong. I never pronounced it wrong before.
There's a good little Easter egg for those of you that didn't hear the Arrested Development podcast. You get a little bit of backstory on things that I say wrong.
That's true. How about the Hamill outing? That was interesting. Should he have been thrown out? Is this old news? Is it worth talking about? Should we move on? All right, the Astros series.
Yeah, he hit a guy throwing a slider.
But the umpire doesn't. I mean, can he recognize that right away?
I don't know. He's been calling pitches for how long? He saw it was a breaking ball.
Should umpires announce the pitch type when giving the call? That's what I want to know.
Fastball, outside corner, ball. Slider, down and away, ball.
Maybe that's what baseball needs to get, a little bit more popularity. Maybe it's the old shot in the arm this relationship needs.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So moving on to that Astros series.
So about that Astros series, we won the rubber match.
Why was
We did
there
it.
a rubber match? Why in the world did Freddie Garcia give up 4 home runs in 3 innings?
You mean six
Well,
home-
it's because Steve
No, I guess
Johnson
he did.
gave up like 2 more.
That's not because. That's also.
It was amazing, though. I didn't really I guess the Astros came into that series pretty hot. I didn't really realize they
Yeah,
had
6 in a row.
what they swept. Who they sweep?
Rangers
The Angels
or Angels?
Oh,
Angels.
No, Angels. Okay. Yeah, and so I just like start seeing them teeing off home runs. I didn't even know it was possible. The last I heard, they were like a AAA roster that
Oh, yeah.
struck out every other batter.
Lion
struck
squirrel finds a nut sometimes.
out against Sweaty Freddy, who what we thought maybe he had 3 solid outings, and his last one was amazing. Well, for Freddy, but
Well, for anyone.
what is he? What is he? So what does he do next time out?
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's my thing with Freddie Garcia. So he's given us like 2 really, really, really good starts. I think one was like start, and the rest have been awful. Would you rather see 2 really, really good starts that are pretty much guaranteed wins, or would you want to see someone that's, you know, like keeping the team in the game every time they're out there?
I don't know. I feel like everyone's there's no like real consistency from anyone. So I don't even know if that's realistic. Also, I don't even know if this is he gone once Chen comes back?
He's got to be the one that goes down.
I would think so. It's him and Gaussman, and Gaussman had a good start last time, so I don't really know. I think they have a couple more starts until Chen's even ready anyways. Still
Yeah,
time
do
to
we-
figure that out?
Any word on Chen? I haven't really
I
looked.
think he's actually throwing now.
Yeah, he's throwing. He's not throwing off a mound.
No, he's playing toss. So I guess there's no timetable yet, you know.
I tried to read his tweets and I couldn't figure it out. So then I put it through Google Translate and it says that he's getting better.
You didn't put it through Gazoogle?
I did not put it through Google.
Yeah,
That would have been
you
amusing.
got to put the translated tweet through Gazoogle and then see what happens. Then you'll be able to read it.
Speaking of the rubber match, I know does anyone know what that saying comes from?
No,
I think it's.
I
I think
refuse
it's.
to Google.
I'm gonna go ahead and just make it up. I think that if 2 people are pulling a rubber band, it's like a wishbone kind of thing. Whichever side
It's
wins,
the worst attempt.
it breaks towards their direction, and you get more of the rubber in your hand afterwards. I think that's
So
I think that's
wait,
probably
so the
it.
rubber match hurts when you win?
well, yes, but also you get more rubber.
Okay.
I think that's. Just don't look it up. I think that's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Apparently,
that's right.
do you really want to know? Although it still makes no sense to me.
Did you look it up?
Yeah, I did give in to Googling it.
Okay.
So
wait,
apparently,
can you Gazoogle it?
oh wait, hold on. Gazoogle.
Thank God
Why
for
is
editing.
the game called the rubber match? Usually, rubber match or rubber game of a 3-game series is only played if no one has a cold-ass little chisel to sweep the series. Put your motherfucking choppers up if you feel this. If Crew A wins Game 1 and Crew B wins Game 2, it shows Game 3 can go either way. Sort of like how the rubber can bend either way. Thus, rubber game.
There's gonna be so much bleep in this podcast.
Yeah, that was not my fault.
I'm an ideas man, Michael. I think I proved that with Mountain.
Unnecessary. So anyway, how do we recover from this?
This is our worst podcast ever. Is Reimold out of the picture?
Is Reimold out of the picture?
Yes.
Yes, I would think so, with both Dickerson and Valencia already putting up numbers and being very serviceable. Yeah, I don't see a reason to really bring him back unless one of those 2, starts to falter a little bit, or that's pretty much it.
And even Pierce hasn't been miserable, and
Oh.
they just called up Xavier.
Well, they just sent him down today, too.
Darn,
So
Wait, they did?
he had a good run.
They brought him up for when Johnson went to DL,
Well,
and then what? Then what did
so
they
they
do?
brought him up to basically cover Markakis, who's been out the last 2 days.
Right.
So Markakis will be back. So I think they want to bring up a pitcher tomorrow to take Steve Johnson's spot.
Plus, don't forget, this is a good one. Everyone, get ready for this. Henry
Rudia.
Arudia? Is that real?
Yeah.
Henry Arudia, who's been just tearing up Double A right now.
Why did I not let you just Say that.
I was going to land somewhere around urethra, so good save. But he's been absolutely tearing the cover off the ball down in Double A, and hopefully he won't be stuck down there forever. Especially with Dan Duquette and his magic wheels of
Justice. Of justice.
His magic wheels of justice.
Even if Rudio was hitting 400 or something, there's really not a place for him. So
No, but this does make Reimold expendable, which is the main
right.
question.
Yeah, but I mean, Reimold's not even on the bench right now. So all those players on the bench, at least those three outfielders, Dickerson, Valencia, and McLeod, who's actually starting, they're all doing well.
And Pierce, who's not doing the worst. Not well, but not the worst.
Right.
Speaking of not doing well, but not doing the worst, my boy Flaherty's back.
What up, Flaherty?
What up?
Once he was recalled, he's been 7 for 23, so right around 300, a little over. He's got a double and 2 RBIs, so he's starting to hit.
He also has an error.
Well, I saw that. I was watching the game today.
Who doesn't have an error?
Doesn't. Manny has an error.
I haven't made any errors.
Have you listened to any of our podcasts?
Yes.
All right. Casilla also
Nice.
has been playing
Good
very well.
pronunciation.
And thank you. I sounded it out. Casilla's been playing very well also. I guess the main question is, what's the answer for second base? Is it Casilla? Is it Flaherty? Is it Navarro? Is it
Chase
somebody
Utley.
else? Is it Chase Utley?
Is it Chase Utley?
No, he's on the DL.
It's not
isn't he?
Chase Utley. I'll play spoiler here. It's not Chase Utley.
I think it's Robinson Cano, if I really had to take a guess.
Next year, maybe.
Any thoughts? Casilla, Flaherty, Navarro?
If I really had to say, actually, I'm going to say stick with Flaherty for now. He's actually doing pretty well, but in case he continues to falter a little bit, well, I don't know. I mean, there is, with the lineup we have now, there is room for someone to suck, I guess.
Yeah.
In whether it be Flaherty or Casilla. I'm okay right now not making a move on that. I'd rather, if we're going to make a move with somebody, it'd be a pitcher.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Defense, I mean, turning that double play ball, he does it really, really well, and I think that's an asset to have out there. You definitely don't want Navarro out there where you never know if you're going to get that double play ball. Just we have a hole in our lineup, whatever. We have the second best lineup in baseball. We can deal with that.
I put this question to the Baltimore Orioles Facebook group, which is extremely active, and I asked basically Casilla, Flaherty, other. The answer seemed to be prevailing wind seemed to be going with Flaherty, and from what I've sort of understood from their arguments, and I tend to agree, is Casilla is a very good defender and not that great of a hitter. Flaherty seems to be a very good defender and not that good of a hitter, but Flaherty definitely has a distinct upside. Every now and then you'll see him go on little tears or really get into a pitch, just crush it. That's a little tantalizing. It seems like he's got some talent that he hasn't fully fleshed out yet, and it's not killing us, like you said, to have a little bit of a black hole in the lineup. If he develops and gets good over the next year and a half, then we found somebody worth holding on to, and if not, we move on, get somebody else via free agency or through the farm system. Obviously, we have a very talented second baseman in the system.
Is Flaherty's defense what we really valued in him last year? Didn't he jumped around to a few different positions, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't primarily at second?
And wasn't very good at second either.
Yeah, it's really odd that now that we're making
played
this...
he played a lot of third base, and a couple of times he was at first and second. I don't think he's really played much second base, even in the minors. Well, I guess he might have played a little bit in the minors, but still, yeah, he didn't seem like he was ready for it last year. But this year, he's definitely improved. He's shown that he can actually play. And
he was a Rule 5 last year, so it's hard to fault him for being a little bit ill-prepared. He was doing completely on-the-job training. Every appearance that he had was with the major league team, and that's hard to learn at that level. Yeah, I think for now, Flaherty, everybody good with him?
I guess so. I always have that.
Boy.
Good, because I said Flaherty all along.
But I love Casilla. Well, you have Flaherty there at second. You have JJ scooping him up at shortstop, and Manny. Holy crap! Just watching game recap. So if I don't catch a game, I got the MLB condensed game. Every single game, there's 5 highlights of Manny charging in from third, barehanding the ball on not a softball, but a hard ball hit, and just firing over to third. And it's so smooth. It's like clockwork every single time. Are we ever even going to move him from third base? He has that just locked down.
I think he'll be moved when Jay Hardy is gone, assuming that there's nobody else that would play shortstop. But I mean, I think his value is in that shortstop position, and
What
if he
about
can
Scope?
adapt.
Isn't Scope supposed to be? Isn't he a shortstop
No, I
slash second
think
baseman?
out of those two, I think Machado is a better shortstop, and I think Scope's more of a third baseman than a second baseman, which will fill that hole perfectly once JJ is actually gone, because eventually that will happen. I think that'll fill very well how that's set up, assuming Scope isn't moved for somebody else.
I think something that should be considered is, while it's amazing, like you said, Dean, every single game he's doing something borderline spectacular and doing it fairly easily. Shortstop is really where the real value is. If he can play, he's playing defense among the best third basemen in baseball right now with Beltre. But if he can play Longoria, absolutely. And he's playing right with them right now. And if he can play that sort of defense with the best shortstops in the league, which shortstop is supposed to be his best position, that will be more valuable, absolutely. If he can play as well as, or well, better than JJ and as well as Brendan Ryan at shortstop defensively, plus his production, he'll be the most valuable shortstop in the league by a million miles. As opposed to now, he's one of the better defensive shortstops, but his production isn't quite living up to it. And even when his production fills out, sure, then he's comparable to Longoria, who's great. But there's more third baseman. It's an easier hole to fill than shortstop.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what we do with Manny. I think you're probably right. He'll eventually end up at short, but it's refreshing to have such depth and options for all these positions.
Yeah, no, that's something that I actually noticed, especially this year. Last year we saw it a lot. The minor system that Duquette really basically stocked up with those kind of quadruple A / people that have been in the majors a couple times a couple years ago. He really stocked up on those guys who have kind of proven that they can kind of play at the major league level. And once again, this offseason, he signed a couple of people, Chris Dickerson, Danny Valencia, who have actually both been called up this year and actually produced quite a bit for us. I think they're both over 900 OPSing. At least Valencia is over 900. Dickerson's around there somewhere. And I think that's one of the big differences between like the pre-Duquette era and now, is that there's the depth in the minor leagues that if someone's not producing, and not that the bench players have to produce much, but if they're not producing at all, they could just be sent right back down. Someone else can be called up and actually add a little bit of value to it. Even some of the bench players like Casilla, who's not really producing much on offense, but as a bench player, I think he's doing fine. He provides that defense and that pinch running ability. Even Steve Pearce has actually been doing decent in the month of May. Hasn't really gotten many opportunities so far in June. The overall depth is just so much better, and that's one of those things that Andy McPhail didn't seem to focus on as much when he was around, but Duquette really focused on last year and into this year.
Yeah, and I mean, last year it was, I mean, we had Nate McLouth and people like that, but
Lou
it was
Ford.
especially the especially the pitching staff. He just picked up a whole bunch of people and threw it against the wall, see who stuck. We had J.C. Romero up, and that didn't stick, so away he went. And we brought in Jamie Moyer to AAA, and he wasn't doing it, so away he went. But, you know, we also ended up with Luis Ayala, like, turning out to be really, really great. Pedro Strop, a lot of the people that we stocked up on. This year, though, especially in our starting rotation, that's not really working out. Jurgens hasn't been very successful. Freddie Garcia's been a really mixed bag. And I think it's pretty safe to say that we need to improve through trades. We need to get better pitchers.
Cliff Lee.
Cliff Lee would be great.
No, we're not getting Cliff Lee.
We're not getting Cliff Lee. The tricky
Pay him $48 million over the next 2 years? No way.
The tricky part about a lot of the pitchers that are available that are sort of big name or proven top of the rotation, if not number ones anymore, but Jake Peavy, Cliff Lee, Matt Garza, is I don't really know who we're going to trade for those sorts of people. I'd say that probably our biggest major league ready trading chip is J.J. Hardy, and all those teams have shortstops. I don't really see us trading anybody other than that. We can trade from our outfield depth a little bit.
Yeah, Nolan Reimold will really draw,
right,
attention.
and like maybe Scope and maybe some of these Garrietta or but there's not a whole lot. Zach Britton, somebody that some team wants to take a flyer on, but those people aren't going to necessarily get deals done for a top of the line rotation member, and that's really what we need.
Well, and then the funny thing is the two guys at the top of the minors right now for the Orioles that would be like the trading chips are actually both injured. Like Scope has a messed up back, something broken there. And then even Dylan Bundy, who's had some like shoulder problems. Apparently he's getting healthy right now. But those two guys are the only ones that they're the ones that people would want, and you're not really going to be able to get as much value for them when they're both hurt. And I think
Bundy's not going anywhere either.
Yeah, are we scared we're gonna reverse the Seattle trade from a few years ago? Try to trade for an ace and then get screwed.
Right. Well,
Dart is available, so I mean we could get him back.
So like Cliff Lee, who's already 34 years old, and he signed for 3 or maybe possibly four more seasons at a very high price. What, $25 million a year, pretty much. Right, and that's a risky take. I mean, he's been great this year. Will he be that good next year or the year after that, paying him $25 million? And especially with the Orioles, a team that can't really afford to spend like the Yankees. We don't have the money for that high of a payroll.
You'd think that the Phillies would take some sort of money back in that trade. But yeah, I certainly see the point. The biggest problem is just we don't have the talent to give up to get one of those big pieces. Right. And we don't need a medium piece. We can't afford to go out and get Mark Burley. That's not going to help things. We need somebody that can really anchor it down. So we're in a tough spot. We sort of have to hope for Gausman to pan out, and then on top of that, try to swing a deal. And in Duquette, we trust, I guess.
Apparently, the Orioles were really in on Dickey over the offseason, and luckily that thing didn't work out for him, since he's not having the year he had the year before. Dodged a bullet there.
Good. I think we ran that stuff pretty good into the ground. Let's take another small little break. We'll come back to our last little portion of the podcast here and wrap it up. See you on the other side.
Oh my God! We're having a fire sale! Oh, the burning! It burns me! Evacuate all the school children! Ah! Oh, May! This isn't a fever! Sing, Gray! Can't even see where the dove is! And scene.
Speaking of fire, there's been a couple guys on this team that have been on fire lately. Let's go ahead and highlight them in this week's Solid as a Rock Performance of the Week.
Hey! Solid as a rock!
Charlie, who you got?
Well, J.J. Hardy, he sort of frustrates because he hits into countless double plays, strike out. Generally doesn't get on base too much, but over the last couple weeks, he's been completely on fire. And when JJ gets on fire, he's one of our best hitters, which is why he's randomly batted third a couple times, and he's lived up to it. In the last week alone, he's had 3 home runs as an OPS of 1226, that's really really
Those are
good.
Crush Davis numbers.
Crush Davis-esque.
That OPS isn't quite as good as Casillas over the past 7 days.
But who is?
I mean, right.
In his 4 at-bats. So yeah, J.J. Hardy, absolutely my solid as a rock performance.
Pitcher, I'm going to go with Kevin Gausman.
Young fella.
Yeah, the young guy for his start against the Tigers. He only went 6 innings, which obviously, I would like to see 7 or 8, but 6 innings for a young pitcher is great. Giving up 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts, and I think he had Miguel Cabrera hitting into 2 double plays too.
2 double plays and a strikeout.
Yeah, so he definitely was dealing well with Cabrera there. So that was my solid as a rock performance.
Hey! Solid as a rock!
But every time we have a solid performance, unfortunately, we have to look on the other side of the mountain.
I've made a huge mistake.
I know the feeling. I had you. I'm your father, Steve Holt. I can't hide from it anymore.
I won't forget this, Dad.
I will. I will.
There is so much roofing going on in season 4.
Oh my God, that one! Well, it's got a little obnoxious there.
I don't agree.
No, man.
That took
It's
way
a roof. It's a roofie circle.
I wish I had a roofie circle.
You ever found
I
yourself?
wish I had a roofie circle for Freddie Garcia's start last night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Home run. Take a forget me now.
And the only thing you forget is that you took the forget me now. Just still remember the home run. Freddie Garcia last night, 3 innings pitched, 4 home runs, 6 runs allowed. Not too good, the old ball coach would say. And yeah, just not a whole lot to say about it. He's not the answer. I mean, he's a great stopgap, as we were discussing earlier. He's not the answer. It's really exciting when he gets 8 beautiful innings. Also, sometimes he's going to give up a lot of home runs in 3 innings. We can't afford to really have that for a long period of time.
Freddie Garcia, you bring him in. If he's going to give up a lot of runs, he should at least be able to pitch, 5-6 innings. But no, he can only pitch 3 innings.
Not good. Bad,
No.
actually.
Bad. Yeah, so actually that leads me into my Forget Me Now performance of the week. Adam Jones has actually been slumping quite a bit, even though he's still hitting over 300. But he did have a game, I think it was against the Tigers, where he went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. So he got the old golden
Swinging
sombrero
away.
there.
And sombrero.
Yeah, so Jones is slumping a little bit.
Yeah, just to stay out of the hot Mexican sun.
Time to wrap up the show here with a little bit of fan mail. So thank you everyone who mailed in this week. It was kind of overwhelming how many emails we had to sift through. So if you don't hear yours read on this week's show, keep at it. We will definitely get to it. Email us, OriolsSpastics@gmail.com. First emailer today was sent from appleid@id.apple.com. Apple ID writes, Dear Oriole Spastics,
Come on, is this
the
all we got this
password... Please don't interrupt. The password for your Apple ID, OriolSpastics@gmail.com, has been successfully reset. If you believe you have received this email in error, or that an unauthorized person has accessed your account, please go to iforgot.apple.com to reset your password immediately. Then review and update your security settings at appleid.apple.com. Questions? There are lots of answers on our Apple ID support page. Thanks, Apple Customer Support. So what do you guys... do you have anything to say to Apple ID?
Yeah, Dean, did you forget the password?
That's
I remember it.
I may or may not have forgotten the password. But thanks to Apple ID for reminding us of our password so we can get to all the fan mail this week. We really couldn't have gotten to it without you.
Well, I think we should probably ask people to rate and give us good comments on our iTunes. That will help.
If you're a pathological liar and you would like to give our podcast a great rating on iTunes, please do. You can find us in the Apple iTunes store. Go on to ratings, write a rave review about us, give us a 5-star. We'd surely appreciate it. You can also follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Actually, the one good thing this podcast probably does is we do some live tweeting of some Oriole games, and you can get in on the action. Let's go to Arrested Development tie-ins.
Probably almost as good as the rest of the other podcasts live tweeting.
I did think it was forward of you once, Charlie, to say that we were the 5th best Orioles podcast.
I did not say that. I never said that.
You did.
I did not.
I'm going to search through the audio vault and prove it, because I was very drawn back. I was like, oh, the 5th best. And then you called us the 24th best Arrested Development podcast.
I don't think we're 5th best. That must have been somebody else.
Maybe,
You must have me
maybe
confused.
5th from the bottom.
Are there that many podcasts?
Yes.
There's a pretty good amount.
Oh,
Yes,
all right.
Chris.
Well,
Oh
we're
my
signing
God.
off.
Let's get out of here before.
Oh, wait, there is another fan mail from sales@godaddy.com.
Let's skip that one.
Can we
All
not?
right. Well, sales@godaddy.com. Thank you for your email. We don't have time, unfortunately, today. Also, we apologize to Darren O'Day. You keep sending these, and I got to remember to block out some time for you. So thank you for everyone for emailing in. It's always heartwarming to get your responses and questions. Clothing thoughts, gentlemen.
I don't have any clothing thoughts this week. Actually, no, I do. I have to, get a new wardrobe for work, so I've been looking around on the internet.
Bow ties.
I don't know. I think that might be overdressing a little bit.
Is there a Bonobos near you in Albany?
Bonobos is online, isn't it? But no. Actually, I have met a guy.
So yes,
Did they send you some pants?
Regarding Bonobos, I actually play Ultimate Frisbee with a guy who actually works at Bonobos, so maybe I can get the in with Bonobos soon.
Wait, so he works for them, but it's completely online? You should know these things if you know
He
someone.
works customer service.
Okay.
Apparently, they have a really good customer service thing, so you can buy pants, and if anything happens to them within a certain amount of time, you can send them in and get new ones.
Wow,
That's
Bonobos.
$100 put to use.
What a great store. Charlie, you got anything for us?
actually no.
Okay. Great. I also have nothing for you because we are very ill prepared today. Actually, I'm looking at a box. It says Zappos.com. I think it's a shoe
Shoes.
service.
So
So
you-
go
so
ahead
you
and
use-
buy some shoes, I guess, at Zappos.com. For Chris Knightsey and Charlie Hoppus, I am Dean Eastlake. Thank you for listening, and as always, remember to drink responsibly.
Something magic happens every time you go. Make the magic happen. Make the magic happen.